Every family tree has a branch that stretches across the world. For some, it begins with a name on a ship's manifest. This is the story of Thomas Arndell, a man of medicine, a man of the soil, and a pioneer of the First Fleet.
My name is Thomas Arndell. In 1786, London was a city of desperate souls. I was a surgeon trained at St. Martin's-le-Grand. I had a life there, a complicated one. You see, the records might show one truth, but a man's heart often holds another.
Thomas left behind a fractured life in England. He had a family with Susanna Simon, 5 children. They were never formally married. The decision to join the First Fleet was a chance to leave the muddle behind and find purpose in a new world.
I stepped onto the Friendship in May 1787. I left behind the ghosts of London for a royal commission under King George III. I was a surgeon for the settlement, but in truth, I was a man seeking a clean slate. The voyage was a test of every skill I possessed. We were 11 ships carrying over 1,000 souls into the unknown. On these, I had charge of 100 convicts. The heat as we crossed the equator was a physical weight, and the storms in the Southern Ocean threatened to splinter our very hopes.
Scurvy, dysentery, and the cramped, damp conditions of the orlop deck were Thomas's daily adversaries. He worked by candlelight, treating the bruised and the broken, all while the ship pitched violently in the salt spray.
We arrived at Botany Bay in January 1788, only to find it wanting. When we finally dropped anchor in Port Jackson, the air was thick with the scent of eucalyptus and the unknown. We were the first, and the weight of that responsibility was immense.
Thomas was immediately appointed as the chief medical officer at the new settlement of Rose Hill, now known as Parramatta. The hospital was little more than 2 long tents with thatched roofs.
I saw the toll the land took on the men. Famine was our shadow. But amidst the struggle, I found a new path. I met Elizabeth Burley, a convict who arrived on the Lady Penrhyn. My past in London remained an ocean away, and here in the dust of Parramatta, a second family began.
This unusual situation was the reality of the frontier. Thomas eventually married Elizabeth in 1807 at Windsor, raising 6 children together in a land that was finally starting to feel like home.
I spent my days at Parramatta and our home, Macquarie Retreat, which would later be the home of my daughter Sarah and her husband, the missionary Lancelot Threlkeld. In 1792, I asked Governor Phillip for permission to retire from medicine. I believed my future lay in the earth, not the infirmary. I clearing 21 acres of my 60-acre grant by hand, one of only 3 men to achieve such a feat.
Thomas became a magistrate and a prospering farmer at Katai Creek, but the peace was shattered in 1804. The Vinegar Hill Rebellion, the first major convict uprising, erupted nearby.
As a magistrate, I was at the center of the storm. I stood for order in a colony that felt it was slipping into chaos. It was a brutal reminder that the freedoms we sought were bought at a heavy price.
Thomas was a staunch supporter of Governor William Bligh. When the New South Wales Corps, the Rum Corps, overthrew Bligh in 1808, Thomas stood by him as a confidant.
My loyalty cost me dearly. The rebels stripped me of my magistracy. My pension, promised for my years of service, was discontinued. For a time, it felt as though the colony I helped build had turned its back on me.
It was only with the arrival of Governor Lachlan Macquarie that Thomas was vindicated and his positions restored. He lived out his days as a respected pioneer at his estate, until his death in 1821.
My story is but one of many. We were the First Fleet, the pioneers of a new nation. I encourage you, look into your own past. Find the names on those manifests. You might be surprised at the strength you find in your own branches.
This is one of many stories from Australia's First Fleet pioneers. To discover more of our shared history, subscribe to First Fleet Films. Your story is waiting to be found.